Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with project number 3, featuring the Scrappy Tales Polar Express card kit by Sabrina. These stamps are amazing. When I saw them, they're versatile. You can do so many things with them. They are 2-layer stamps for the image. Here, we're going to do our backgrounds first, and I'm going to do both. And then you have the outline stamp that you'll set in here. And then you have the stencil that matches it. And one of the things that I am enjoying, with each of her contents in this kit, whether it's a stamp or whether it's a die, she gives you this color chart. Especially for the dies, I use this to help. Okay, where does that piece go? I have this piece, I have a die cut, where does it go? So that helps me with that, but it can help you with colors. So I'm going to be focusing in on these colors that we see for each of the images, but we are going to make both cards. I do suggest that you do have a stamp positioning tool because you want to make sure that these are lined up. I know I'm grateful for a stamp positioning tool because, yeah, I could just see what would happen. But let's dive in and let's see how I do. I'm a little nervous, gotta be honest, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, I'll see you over there. All right, let's just dive in. So this type of a stencil set or a stamp set with a stencil is very new to me. Yes, I've worked with stencils. Yes, I've stamped an image and then, stenciled in with it. But here, this stamp set, to me, is unique. There's one stamp that creates your background. So I'm going to do an ink blend, and there's going to be 2 different backgrounds that we're going to do. One kind of like day-ish, and then the other one is night-ish. And I'm going to actually do these 2 different ways. Now, one of the, I'm not going to say a boo-boo, but one of the things that I forgot to do, whenever you get new stamps, you want to condition them. Whether that's rubbing your microfiber cloth on it, rubbing your hand on it, or you can use your VersaFine ink, your clear ink, to condition that. So the first one, this one here, I did not do that. So it does look splotchy, but after looking at the cards, letting them set, because these inks will, not mold, but meld over. They'll fill in to a point and blend out. I kind of like the look of it. Now, these are dye inks that I am using. I'm using my Simon Says Positively inks. And I got a few little spots there, boo-boo spots. Here's where I really held my breath to make sure that I have that stamp lined up, because you can see the opening from the background stamp, which it's just really unique. I think it's a really cool idea that Sabrina came up with. And wow, yeah, whoo, I stamped that. And it was very easy to line up. It was not difficult. But I did press too hard. I got some ink in some of the open areas, and when I pressed down, it got there. But that's okay. We'll be able to cover that up. Here are the stencils, and they are labeled, stencil layer 1, stencil layer 2, and we should read that. Yes, I am that person that doesn't read directions very well. And it will help you, because then there's a path at which your inks will go down. And I am going to continue to use my dye inks. Now, for the background, You'll get a smoother background, probably with, if you have your oxides, because they have that pigment dye mixture, and pigments are, they're almost creamier. So they may blend better, and they will blend better. But I don't hate it. I think I really like it. I do like using dye inks for stencils, because if you have your stamped image, dye inks are transparent. Oxides have a little bit of an opacity to them, so they may cover up the black lines that you've just stamped. Now, if you keep your stamp in the stamp positioner, then you'll be fine. You'll be able to stamp back over that. Of course, I did not. So, again, these are just fun ways to create, but I absolutely love the way, by the time you're done creating your background, stamping out the image, then coming in with the stencils, you have a completely full frontal colored image. Solid. Just very unique. So I learned a lot by working with these and seeing, what you can do, what you get, and all of that. The images are just absolutely adorable. The sentiment is already in there, when you stamp and so forth. So you're basically just stamping and then stenciling and adding your colors. You don't have to worry about die cutting a sentiment or worrying about if you're going to put a sentiment in or not. You guys know me. There's times where, with all of this work that we do on the front of our cards, I don't want to cover it up, any part of it, with a sentiment. I want to leave all of that work that we've done open, and because we're going to write inside the card, and that's the main sentiment, for that card. But there's also so much detail in these stencils, from the bricks in the bridge, from the snow on the trees, the moon, or the sun. However you want to look at that, you can create these in any color combination you would want to bring these to life with, which I think is great. Detail brushes for these stencils, I think, is key, because the areas are so small, and some of them are close, but not all of them. There was like maybe one area where it was close to each other, and I got a little bit of the color into the other section, but not many of them. I'm going to cut directly around, and I am going to go around this one with Vintage Photo. I didn't cut as close as I wanted to on one edge, and I didn't want to pull it back out and, put it back through the trimmer. So the Vintage Photo is going to cover that, and that's just along that side and the top, and then just finishing up around the outside. So not a lot of Vintage Photo, just to cover up that area. I'm going to put this on top of a piece of mirror cardstock, and you'll be able, I'll look awesome in the mirror cardstock. Yes, it's like, one of those, yeah, hello. It's one of, it's like one of those weird mirrors that you can look at. Just say. And we're going to put this on a black card base, and we'll get that set right down in there. So first time, absolutely love it. Now, I still have that spot in the moon. The other spot, you can't see. You don't know where it is. It's covered up. So what I did, I pulled in some pearls, and I'm just going to add some 5 pearls just to create a little tiny embellishment scene going on in there. And it's fine. There's no reason to start all over again. So let's go into our second one. That is going to be a nighttime, a blue sky. And again, we're going to start the same way. We're going to start with our ink blending. So here I'm using my hand to prime, per se, the stamp, just a little bit, just to condition it. But what you also want to make sure too, so we've got a large negative space in this, because that's where we're going to stencil. When you have a stamp like this, a large stamp, and it's a solid stamp, it's not cut out in the center, and I like those better because the stamp will keep its shape. Then when you cut that area out, you could get it wonky. And it won't be this rectangle that it should be. You want to make sure that you kind of like roll the stamp onto your stamp positioner or block so that it doesn't have an air pocket underneath those negative spaces. I didn't do that the first time, and that's why I got some ink on there, and when I pressed down, it transferred onto the card. So it's just something to think about when it comes to stamps like that. There's nothing wrong with them. It just gets that air pocket, and it creates this bubble in there. So if you just roll it out just a little bit, it'll remove that. Now, even though I conditioned it, again, I'm using dye inks for the background. I do think that oxides are the way to go for the backgrounds because they're smoother and it'll give you a more smooth blend. But I think especially with the nighttime sky, I like the way the dye inks look. And again, it's stamped perfectly right into that area. I was off a little bit, but I love it. I like the way the white is coming right off of that black on the olive board along the top. Again, happy accidents. Absolutely happy accidents. And now we're going to do the same thing. We are going to go through. I've chosen all of my colors and we're going to add them. Now, like I was saying before, yeah, fine detail blending brushes, I think, are definitely key. Just smaller in diameter. Using a large one, you may make a mistake and get a color where you don't want it to be. But again, it's not the end of the world. You know, the inks will go over each other. You can use something else and just have fun with it. With these open trees, I'm adding a couple different colors in there just to give them some different looks, shading, and then that will absolutely blend out. You will get a different look when you use your blending brushes compared to stamping that background. It'll look more solid because of the way that your blending brush is pushing down or putting down that color and the way that you're applying it with your brush. So again, just things to keep in the back of your mind as you're working through and adding your colors. Got our red, and that's for our train and our candy canes, and then it's going to come across for the Polar Express sentiment. And then we've got a little bit of the train there. So I really, kudos, Sabrina. Very different, very unique. I know there's things out there that are similar, but I've never seen anything like this put together. Now, you know, I could live under a rock as well. But I had a lot of fun with these. I like trying something new, and you know, you learn from that. You know, you learn different things from it and different ways that you'll put it together, or maybe you use a different ink or something like that. Now, it was amazing. I just cut around this, and I should have kept that border there because, wow, that was like a great cut. I was pretty impressed. But I am going to cut away the edges. We are going to mat this onto some red cardstock. And then we're going to pull in some iridescent cardstock to go around that as well. I don't know what these panels measure. I just place them down onto their mat. And then when I'm cutting this, I know it's going to be either the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, because these both are standard A2 size cards. So see, we're still making standard A2 size cards. And then, okay, so that iridescent panel was cut to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I could have the card base, which is black, to be a matte as well. Okay, that was our third project. Yes. And I absolutely love them. Now, I should have conditioned the stamps more so that it doesn't look so blotchy, but I kind of really like the blotchy skies and then the blending with the stencil being just a little bit smoother. So I'm okay with that. And, grab a pearl and we can cover up those mistakes. Just remember, when your stamps get bigger, you want to kind of like roll them down onto your platform once you get it set, just to make sure that these areas here, the flat areas, or the open areas, are against your platform or your block, depending upon what you're using. And then you'll have that transition. Now, I know when Sabrina did these, when she showcased them, she used oxides. So probably oxides will give you that smoother blend, but I kind of do like the speckle look. I know you're all surprised I'm not adding a snowfall blizzard to these, but I think with the way the background does look, it'll give that effect, and I don't want to take away all of the beautiful work that we did, and they didn't take too long to make. So right now we've got a total of 6 cards that we have made so far. We have just scratched the surface. So 6 cards, different ways, using stencils to color your image, and you get a complete image that fits on your standard A2 size card. We've used die cuts to create a shape card, and then we use the pattern paper and just keep it simple. Let that pattern paper do the work. So, project 4, we're going to stretch. We're going to start digging into those dies, and we're going to create some fun projects for 4 and 5. So I hope you'll stay tuned during this version for 2025's Christmas series. This kit that we're using, again, we are featuring the Scrappy Tales Polar Express card kit. I will have it linked down below if you wanted to check that out. I'm also going to link to the video where I showcase the kit, where I walked through all of the components that are in the kit, both the exclusives to that kit and then also the dies that are available individually for purchase. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I'd love for you to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, make sure you ring the bell so that you are notified when the next video is live and ready for you to watch. Remember, you create art and just enjoy the process. Try new things. Try something different. It's just paper, no matter what you make. Cards, journals, or albums. It's just paper. So enjoy the process. But most of all, remember, always be creative in everything you do every day. Continue to stay safe and healthy. And I will talk to you in the next one. I'll see you at Project 4. And until then, take care.